Okay, today we are in part 2 of our Advent season, or the second week of Advent. And as you know, I treat this a little differently than the traditional way of doing that. And we acknowledge the 4 characteristics of God. Last week we started with life, which was the green candle. It expresses through us as enthusiasm. When we're full of life, we're full of enthusiasm. Today we're looking at love, which expresses as understanding. Love is understanding. Next week we'll look at power, which expresses its strength. And finally intelligence, which expresses as order. So today we're focused on love expressing as understanding. And I just thought it was better to focus on something that we can relate to it in the present way. Because the whole mainstream approach to Advent is that there is a coming event, and that is the coming of the kingdom, the second coming of Jesus. And I have pointed out that if you understand the first coming of Jesus, you won't need a second coming. That I think what he brought was an understanding of our relationship to God in a way that if we get it, we understand that that is our Savior. That which we are looking for, as Meister Eckhart said, is that which is doing the looking. That at the spiritual level, which we are open and receptive to more all the time, is that wholeness of being. It is the presence of God in us. And we are opening to that. And as we do open to that, it not only broadens our own perception of ourselves and our life, but our entire world. We see things from a different perspective. As I said last week, it's like being in a valley where you can see your vision is limited. But you climb the hill next to the valley and you can see further. And the higher you go, the better you can see. Same world, different perspective. And that's what the spiritual awakening does. So as we focus on the characteristics of God, we immediately acknowledge that we are alive, and all living things obviously are alive. The presence of God is life. And so acknowledging our own life is to acknowledge we are expressions of that. That the Son of God is not a man that lived 2,000 years ago. It's that image likeness of God that you are. It's a very important realization to have. And part of that is the nature of God is love. Somebody said, where do you base that on? What do you base that on? I'll get to that in a moment, but it is not only scripturally based, it's logic based. And one of the struggles I had with this whole idea of God as love was how could we say that God is love when there's a possibility we could wind up roasting for eternity? Well, John tries to answer that. God so loved the world that he gave his only Son. And the mainstream message is if you accept that as true, then you won't be roasted. You will be spared. You'll end up in the kingdom of God. So I never could reconcile that. We say God is omnipresent. If there is such a thing as hell, that would be a place where God is not. So we would have to discard the notion that God is omnipresent. So we'll get into this discussion as we go today. But our affirmation is one that I have included. It's not in your program today, but it's one that has become one of my favorites. And that is, love draws to me that which is for my highest good and dissolves that which is not. Love draws to me that which is for my highest good and dissolves that which is not. Let's say that together. Love draws to me that which is for my highest good and dissolves that which is not. This is an excellent affirmation to focus on, especially in our moments when we feel lost or uncertain. If you've got something going on in your life right now, you feel like you're not sure what the next step is, it's good to take time just to be still and affirm this, that love draws to me that which is for my highest good and dissolves that which is not. What if the thing that's going on in your life doesn't feel like it's for your highest good? It feels like it's exactly the opposite. Sometimes we have to let the video keep playing. We don't want to stop on a given frame. We let it keep playing until we see the greater good, until it does unfold, until it makes itself known to us. And I would say that in every case of every one of our lives, that's been the case. That we've all seen moments that we did not understand, that seemed like there was no good whatsoever in that moment. I had the interesting experience of having some fraudulent charges made on my church debit card to the tune of $2,000 plus. And to add insult to injury, it was for baby clothing and hairstylist. So I should look a lot better than I do right now. But it's something that, when something like that happens, you say, why? What good could possibly come out of that? And it's one of those things where the film has to keep going. The bank covered the charge, but then they pulled it back, saying that I did benefit from those charges. The last thing I want to buy is baby clothing because I don't need it. So it was obviously a mistake on the bank's part, and I did contact the headquarters and all that stuff, and we'll be getting the paperwork to resolve it. But there are so many things that happen like that in life that we don't know why exactly. What could we possibly learn from that? What good could possibly come out of that? And I believe that good is unfolding even through a situation like that. That greater good will be established as the result of it. But when we think of love and we think of trying to be loving, when something like that happens, that's where the challenge comes in. How can you be loving when you know somebody has committed fraud against you? And of course, it's nothing personal, but it kind of is when the bank sends me the letter saying they doubt that I didn't charge these things. But it's a situation that we find ourselves in a lot. I mean, things like that. And hopefully you won't. This is not the first time. I got a couple of cases of wine delivered at home one time for the same kind of thing. I couldn't keep the wine, unfortunately, but anyway, that is, we live in a world today that we have to think about those things. And even if you don't think about them, you have to think about them because it just keeps coming up. But again, this is an excellent affirmation to focus on, especially in our moments when we feel lost or uncertain. To love an enemy is to find the strength to give them this same blessing. And see, this is one thing that has helped me approach love in a little bit different way. In the past, I would try to muster the emotion of love toward a given enemy, someone I was in contention with or someone I didn't agree with. But if I can give them the same blessing, if I can think of them and say that love draws to you that which is for your highest good, and it dissolves that which is not. If I can say that to the person who committed the fraud, for example, and actually mean it, that takes the responsibility off of me of trying to get to the point where I could just throw my arms around them and say, it's okay. You can have the $2,000 and I'll take the baby clothes. I didn't even get the baby clothes. And I certainly didn't get the hair gel. But when you can do that, it takes you out of the picture. When you can make that statement to the person that was offensive or is offensive, it takes your need to put yourself in a place that you probably can't do at that moment. How does it feel to be angry at somebody? How does it feel to wish them harm, to hope their life fails? Who suffers more when we do that? Is it us or is it them? And what we are looking for is a way to let love free us from those kinds of reactions. And so I can actually think of whoever this person might be, and I can say this, and I can mean it. I hope they find something better to do than commit fraud. I hope their life is more successful so they don't have to do this type of thing. That's what I truly wish for them. Do I approve of that type of action? No. Will I ever? No. Does that mean I'm an unloving person? Only if I react in a way that hurts myself. And all unloving acts that we ourselves, we individuals perform, hurt us. They shut us down from our awareness of that presence of God. And I'm not saying that this is a natural reaction that we have. It's something we have to remember. We have to give the blessing consciously. We have to apply it to ourselves, and we have to apply it to others if we want to be free. And you see, that's where love expresses as understanding. The understanding is not the old teaching that I've got to throw my arms around everybody I don't like in order to be loving. The understanding is I wish for them the best and highest. That I say to them, love draws to you that which is for your highest good and dissolves that which is not. Very freeing statement. And I say it with understanding. That it's not a power that I have to muster, that I have to generate, that I don't really believe. And that's one of the problems with trying to be a good Christian. You know, we try to do that, and we watch people that claim to be good Christians trying to do that, and it's very easy to see how they fall short. I think that's why Jesus said, you know, whoever's without sin among you casts the first stone. It's a difficult place to be. Nobody casts a stone, because we all know we've done things that are not up to par on a spiritual level. We've thought things. You get into a teaching like unity, and it is a sin to think negatively. We get rid of a lot of the other sin and punishment idea, but we pick up a new one. Why is this happening in my life? Probably because you thought negatively somewhere. You envisioned something that's working against you. It's karma. Well, to be free of that law of karma, we take another way. We have a deeper understanding of this whole thing. It's not me that's doing it. It is love that is at this moment drawing to me that which is for my highest good and dissolving that which is not. It's a very powerful statement. I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. Let's say that together. I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. So we get the feeling that love is guiding every step we take. And that is a feeling. It's like if I don't have that feeling, I don't feel like that's happening. So I make a conscious effort to allow that feeling to come forward. I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. And that means that even when I take a step and I don't know if it's the right step, that I affirm that it is, that love is guiding every step I take. But the feeling is all important. It's making that shift from getting out of the head to understanding there's something greater than my own logic, something greater than my own willpower at work in this situation right now. I don't have to understand how it works to know that it does. And I think that's one of the things that prevents us. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, I know I'm supposed to be forgiving, be loving, whatever. It's nearly impossible to do. It's nearly impossible to generate love towards someone you can't stand, someone you totally disagree with. But what if you realize you're not the one that does it? It's not you. That there is a power working through you now, that you're guided by the understanding that love imparts. It's like you say that and you feel that and you know every step you take is the right step. But it's a practice. It's a memory. Remind yourself. Believe that you are receiving the perfect outcome of each situation in your life. Believe that no matter how it looks right at this moment, that it's all part of the unfolding process. Not easy to do. But when you take the burden of the outcome off of yourself and put it on the outworking of love, this higher power that is working through all of us, that knows how to draw to us that which is for our highest good and dissolve that which is not. It's called letting go and letting God. There's all kinds of ways, all kinds of cliches that we have come up with to remind ourselves of that. But that's what it is. It's a letting go, but it's a conscious awareness that something greater than myself is at work, and that's something we call love. That's the understanding. That's how understanding expresses through me, is I know and accept that this is true. And how do you know you've accepted that it's true? You know by how you feel. Do you feel free, or are you standing at the edge of the window looking out, seeing if the answer's coming anytime soon? Can you see it out there someplace? You know your prayer is answered by how you feel. If you feel free, whatsoever you ask for in prayer has been given to you. Because isn't that the bottom line of every single thing we ask for? It's freedom. And why do we desire freedom? We desire freedom because at the soul level we are already free. We're simply affirming what is true of ourselves at the deepest level. We're not trying to make something up. As I've said many times, we are in the process of recovering the soul. Not inventing it, not making it better, but recovering it. And that means it already exists. I'm the woman who owns 10 coins and I have misplaced one, and I'm going to tear my house apart until I find it, because I know it's mine. That's the attitude we have. I'm not asking for anything. I'm affirming what is already true. And that is, I am whole, I am complete, and I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. That's happening as we speak. Love is my essence. Love is my being. Love is my essence. Love is my being. Let's say that together. Love is my essence. Love is my being. So love is not a thing we do. Love is what we are. And I think it was Emily Cady that addressed this idea, that she talked about love as we think it's something we have to muster. We have to muster the courage. We have to muster the strength to love. But she says, I don't want that kind of love. I want what comes natural. I want a natural experience of love. And that's why I always like Jan Polsky's statement that love is letting go of fear. It's not adding, it's letting go. Letting go of fear allows what is naturally ours and us to come forward. So here's the source of the actual statement from the Gospels, from the first chapter of John, or 1 John, which is one of the letters. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and he who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. So if God is love and I am an expression of God, love is not something I muster. Love is something I recover, something I awaken to. And there's really no better time to get in touch with that type of idea than right now. All of us have something we're dealing with. All of us have some concern, some fear, some problem that stems from owning a body. Could be a health issue, could be a financial issue, could be a fraud issue, could be whatever. But this place in our life right now is where the lessons are learned, where the lessons are remembered, I should say. We don't really learn anything. We recall. The spiritual journey is about recollection. It's about recalling. It's about recovery. It's not about learning. That's a misconception that many people carry. If we believe the soul is evolving, we're here to learn. If we believe the soul is whole, we're here to recover. There's a vast difference in those two things. Because many reach the end of their life and they don't feel they've learned all they need to learn, so what is the next step? Come back. I don't want to be a teenager again, ever. I want to remember who I am, and I want to do it now, and I want to make the most of this experience that I'm having now. Because I believe that was my intention when I chose it, and I think I did choose it. I think we all did. Love is the balancing action in all my relationships and all conditions in my life. Love is the balancing action in all my relationships and all conditions in my life. Let's say that together. Love is the balancing action in all my relationships and all conditions in my life. You may not always be able to muster the kind word or take that right action that will bring agreement with another. Still, you can know that invoking love will fit all the pieces together, will tie up the loose ends, and move all concerned to their best and highest good. Love reveals that this is true even when your good intentions at diplomacy fail miserably, or fear drives your own actions. The love that expresses as your soul is greater than all human frailty. And I love that last line. I don't have to muster the strength to love. Love is what I am. And I simply remember that. And to remember that, I have to get out off the battlefield and maybe sit down and be still and have a recollection. Love draws to me that which is for my highest good and dissolves that which is not. If you don't remember anything else, remember that, because I think you'll find that very helpful. All right? Thank you for coming out, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you for watching this week's program. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with others. We want to reach as many people as we can, and we appreciate your help. If you'd like to help support this ministry, just click the donate card at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Your financial support means a lot to us. We have many subjects in our video lineup, so feel free to take a look. If there's a topic you don't see and would like me to address, just put it in the comment section. I'd love to know what's on your mind. To subscribe to this channel, simply click our logo. Thanks again for your interest in independent unity, and have a wonderful week.